Animation 2016. It all sucked. Let's do this thing. Juice and jab time.
You're trying to get people to go to war and kill each other.
So maybe this is like the new post-funny era of satire.
South Park season whatever. Not including TV commercials, a 30-minute TV episode is actually about 21 minutes long. With 10 episodes in a South Park season times 21 minutes, that's 3.5 hours per season. Imagine if they made a 3.5 hour long South Park movie and they split it to air a different fragment each week. That's been the past few seasons of South Park. After 2010, a lot of comedy-based cartoons started incorporating storylines into their work to varying degrees of success. The ones that work well with the storyline just make a regular episode with a beginning, middle, and end that can be watched on their own, but also develop an overarching season plot within that same episode. While South Park, the episodes don't stand on their own, it's just a section of a massive episode. It has some funny concepts that they'll run into the ground until you're saying, again? Really? Okay, we get it. You didn't like Star Wars. Okay.
Remember TIE Fighters? Oh, remember Jawas? Remember? Hey, remember Jurassic Park? Oh, you love Jurassic Park. Remember Jeff Goldblum?
It probably would have worked a lot better to binge watch these instead of waiting each week for a new episode. But even then, 3.5 hours of this is just grueling. There is potential in doing storylines, they just need to work on the execution. Oh, and because this season of South Park was commentating on the election as the election was going on, they finished an episode where Hillary won, which that didn't happen. So they had to rewrite an episode one day before its broadcast and make changes to the rest of the season.
I don't know about you guys, but I sure am excited. America's going to be great again. Aren't you excited, gang?
South Park, the past few seasons. Is it over yet? But in other South Park news, did you hear co-creator Trey Parker will play a villain in the upcoming Despicable Me 3? Maybe he did it for his kids? Anyway, here's a scene that bugs me in the trailer.
Hello, Gru.
Ha ha! Oh, what about that?
What?
Okay, so I guess the joke here is that had it not been for the water gun, Gru intended to pull a Glock out and blow Trey Parker's brains out square in the fucking face. Found that a little concerning for a family film.
You've got to be a superhero with Matt Flow. Now it's time for a buttercup beatbox solo.
Oh, Poochie is one outrageous dude. He's totally in my face.
Powerpuff Girls 2016. It's a reboot that just doesn't understand the punk attitude of the old show, while offering nothing but changes to be safe and marketable. It's a mishmash of every other show and trend currently on TV. Did they even watch the old show? I mean, come on, the Amoeba Boys being a legitimate threat? I've roasted this in other videos, but you all are asking, when's part 2 of my Powerpuff Girls analysis coming? I don't know. The hate for that series died down long ago. Part 2 will be done after the show is canceled and we can fully analyze it.
I am Bubbles, I got pigtails, la 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 la.
No singing.
But I need to come clean about who I really am and what I'm really doing here.
We know exactly who you are. You're Norm of the North.
Ice to see you. I asked you all on my Tumblr and Twitter what to put on this list, and many of you reminded me this one film existed. Normies Go Home? This is Norm of the North, a CG film that somehow made it to theaters despite resembling a direct-to-video film you'd skip past on Netflix. The lead role belongs to Rob Schneider of all people, a man whose other animated roles include shameless Pixar ripoff films. I mean, I just got done covering this in another video for Blame It on Jorge.
Any last words before I eat you?
Any last words before I F you?
Any last words before I eat you?
It sounds like they sped up his voice here. So what's Norm of the Nordstrom's story? Well, Norm is a polar bear living in the Arctic who's the only one able to both dance and communicate with humans. You'd think one would be enough, but no. Norm decides to venture off to New York City, where he gets caught up in a plot of some real estate guy wanting to build houses in the middle of the Arctic. Why would anyone live in the Arctic? I don't know. This film is just odd. All the bears look the same. The animation is overly bouncy and sporadic. The camera sways all around far too much. It's distracting. Then there's these minion ripoff lemmings who add nothing to the plot other than to make weird noises and provide a visually disturbing experience. I believe believe the Harlem Shake dance meme was still popular during production because this movie has its own dance, the Frosty Shake or Polar Shake or whatever. They couldn't afford any real pop songs, so they got some stock royalty-free music off freemusicarchive.org or some website. What looks suspicious to me is that this film has an $18 million budget, just $1 or $2 million under Sausage Party's budget, an animated film with better graphics and bigger celebrities, so something's up.
Norm of the North. Dinner is served. Norm. What? I'm Big Bone.
Every single sausage gets chosen on Red, White, and Blue Day.
By this time tomorrow, we're all gonna be 5 inches deep in some buns, son. Ba-bam.
For the first mainstream R-rated CG animated film in theaters, I thought Sausage Party was okay. Kind of felt like I got the whole joke from the trailer. While I want there to be more to adult animation than just Seth Rogen's stoner and dookie jokes, it's one small step for more adult animation in theaters, but 2 steps back for the treatment of artists. Because Sausage Party was on a drastically lower budget than your typical CG animated film, tons of corners had to have been cut to make the deadline. Animators in Vancouver's Nitrogen Studios were forced to either work unpaid overtime or get fired and blacklisted from the animation industry.
Korean animation studio. Everybody work. Everybody work. Everybody work.
There were animators who worked a year on the film who had their names removed from the credits. If you're just breaking into the industry and your first and only job was Sausage Party, you had to do what they say. Trying to get hired for another animation job is difficult if your only reference is either Sausage Party or nothing at all.
He big mean man whip us. We are slaves.
Tune in to Rick and Morty Season 3 in like a year and a half or longer to see how we unravel this mess. Ooh-wee!
Has this always been a problem and we're just noticing it now? The hiatus. It's the breaks between new episodes of shows. Could last months or even a year. When's the new episode coming out? Who knows? Animation is a lengthy process. The Samurai Jack revival was announced for 2016. Where did it go? I don't know.
It's still a mystery.
Several people have told me the only way they know a new episode of Nickelodeon's Ninja Turtles was aired was because Andre Black Nerd made a recap video on it. Here's a thought-provoking question. If a Ninja Turtles episode premieres and Andre Black Nerd doesn't make a video on it, does it exist? Do schedules exist? I guess it's better we don't have a solid schedule. You don't want another Sausage Party incident.
It's over? Wow. I can't wait for the next episode. Whenever that is, am I right?
The defining chapter in the greatest trilogy of all time.
Ice to see you again. Ice Age 5, Collision Corse. Is that enough Ice Age movies? All you on social media mention this as the worst, along with Norm of the North. I already watched Norm of the North for this video. I ain't gonna watch an Ice Age sequel. But I guess it's nice Ray Romano and John Leguizamo can still get work after all these years. Oh my gosh, guys, why are we still doing these movies?
Shut the fuck up, Ray. I'm not going back to your Mario Brothers movie. I can't go back. I can't.
Question, how long until Ice Age crosses over with the Land Before Time franchise? With all the films the two pump out, they're bound to run into each other. Ice Age 5, Collision Corse. I ain't watching that shit.
My nose is dangerously close to my butt.
Ice Age Collision Corse.
Adult Swim's New Year's Eve bash will be right back.
How about to Adult Swim's New Year's Eve bash?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Black, and welcome to YouTube Rewind, a very special event where we take a look back at the most watched videos of 2011.
YouTube. It's you guys. It's you that tubes. You are what makes YouTube you. back when that meant something. Sometime during 2012, YouTube's ad revenue system rewarded those that made the most clicks. If you click on a video and it turns out to be garbage and you only watch 3 seconds of it, they still got your ad revenue. That was up until YouTube decided to implement a better system. Revenue not based on how many views, but how long people are watching your videos. If content producers make engaging videos, people will stick around to watch it. Thus, the longer people watch, the more money producers get. That sounds like a good system. Unless you animate. A month's work by one person would result with maybe 1-2 minutes of animation. No studio can produce new animated content every day, let alone a single aspiring animator.
You only made 1 new cartoon last year! Shit on a Dick 69 puts out 12 videos a minute!
This has also affected the company Frederator, whose goal is to make TV quality animation free on YouTube with Cartoon Hangover. With the time and money it takes to make animation, their shows Bee and Puppycat and Bravest Warriors took a long hiatus from 2014 through 2016, where we finally got an update as where those shows went.
When Frederator launched Cartoon Hangover almost exactly 4 years ago, it was an experiment with YouTube. We wanted to see if we could do TV quality cartoons on an ad-supported digital platform. Even though Bravest Warriors is one of the most successful scripted shows on YouTube, the ad revenue and modest demands for t-shirts, Catbug, and Puppycat plush dolls didn't add up to a self-sustaining business.
Instead of being free on YouTube, new Puppycat and Warrior episodes will be released behind a small paywall from the streaming service Verve, then put on YouTube for free 1 month later. This angered much of their audience, but when you understand how much it takes to make animation, giving out TV quality animation for free just isn't possible yet.
Harvey Beaks. A brand new show coming in March on Nick.
We all know Nickelodeon has this policy I call the SpongeBob standard. If a new Nick cartoon comes out and it isn't a smash hit, Nickelodeon will just ignore it, never give it reruns, never promote it, move the premiere dates around, and dump the last few episodes on their much less popular channel, Nicktoons Network, while they replace it with more SpongeBob reruns. This has happened for over a decade, from Teenage Robot to The Legend of Korra. Us, the viewers, have always seen this happen, but we never had anyone who worked on these shows speak up about it until recently for the show Harvey Beaks, a cartoon from C.H. Greenblatt, the creator of Chowder.
My name is Harvey, I like ice cream, and I like my mom and dad.
We had him as a guest on the Pizza Party podcast. Carl Greenblatt sounded so passionate about his work put into Harvey Beaks, a series that was in development for 7 years but treated so poorly by Nick. Carl got into trouble after blogging about his dissatisfaction with the network. Harvey Beaks didn't rake in enough views, so it lost to the SpongeBob standard. He argued that when SpongeBob premiered, it needed time before it became a hit. Carl should know, he worked on SpongeBob during its first 6 years. After all that was said, Carl admitted working at Nickelodeon had been a great supportive time, and he was able to make Harvey Beaks into the show he wanted with little compromise, but was frustrated with the business side of things. Harvey Beaks may have several episodes left before cancellation, but not as many people will be able to watch them on Nicktoons Network.
That's what my relationship with Nick has been. If I come and say, hey, I want to do this, they say, sure. So it really wasn't them driving it. It was me saying, this story needs to be this, and we want to do right by it. And so they were super cool about it.
I am the lone locust of the apocalypse. Think of me when you look to the night sky.
For all that we lost in 2016, the death that hurt the animation industry was for Clay Martin Croker, a lead animator who helped develop Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Space Ghost Coast to Coast. These two cartoons made on a shoestring budget were the foundation Adult Swim's empire was built on. The way I crudely animate myself with limited movement was completely inspired by Space Ghost's constant reusal of the same 3 animation sequences. Not just that, Clay provided the voices for Coast to Coast keyboard player Zorak and the first host for the Toonami action block, Moltar. As a tribute, Toonami aired a final send-off for Clay Martin Croker.
Well, fare thee well, buddy. May your oven stay forever lit.
And the #1 worst animated thing to happen in 2016 was nobody saw Kubo and the 2 strings, you fucking assholes. Look at the cost. It cost $60 million to make, and it barely made back its budget, which that doesn't include the money spent on advertising. For a movie to be financially successful, it needs to make back double its budget. Another great Laika stop-motion film that's a financial failure. Oh wait, did I say another great Laika film? I meant to say Coraline, Paranorman, and Kubo are great. Box Trolls fucking sucked. Just put it out there. What a fucking awesome movie Kubo was. A very predictable twist, yeah, but I loved everything else. I guess y'all would rather watch shitty troll dolls dancing or some shit. My 3 favorite movies of 2016: Kubo, Deadpool, and Hardcore Henry. Fuck y'all for not watching Hardcore Henry also. The only saving grace is Deadpool made a ton of money, so there's still hope in the world, but not much. So thanks. Thanks for fucking nothing.
It's friends, parties, and fun. How could it get any better? Have Brack.
That's me.
And Carl.
Whoa, what is that thing?
Host Adult Swim's New Year's Eve Bash. Ring in 2003 with 4 hours of C-Lab 2021. Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. The Brack Show. And Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Plus, we'll be reporting from Party Central, Times Square.
Well, Carl's gonna get himself some midnight sugar.
Oh, boy.
Don't miss Adult Swim's New Year's Eve Bash. Next on Cartoon Network.